Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Jermaine, and I'm back with another episode of the Morning Thoughts. It's been quite a while. I know you've been probably eager and anxious to hear from me. I have my regular cup of coffee. I want to welcome you in to your verbal cup of morning coffee, which is the Morning Thoughts. And today what I want to speak to you about is something that many people aren't really paying too close of attention to, and that is the spiritual bankruptcy that is happening in this country. For that matter, it's happening in this world that we live in, but especially if you're one of those that lives in the country called the United States of America. Well, you may wonder, what am I talking about? What am I trying to get at? But the spiritual decline, the spiritual bankruptcy that's happening is a direct reflection of the mindset and the thinking that goes into the fiscal condition that has befallen the country of the United States. Now, in the United States, it's all about living for today and not paying any attention or having any care for tomorrow. Well, that is an idea and a mindset that has permeated this country and its people for not too long of a time, because there was once a time. I remember when my grandparents always spoke of, being prepared for a rainy day. Having a little something. That my grandfather used to always say, and this is a saying that many people have heard, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Well, what's happening is when you have a mindset and a condition that says that, you go out, you buy houses, you buy cars, you buy any item that you want to buy. You notice I say want to buy. And you buy these items and you worry about paying for it later. Used to be a time that if people did not have the means to pay for it right then and there, they didn't get it, or they would wait and save for it. And they worry about the consequences of the current action later on down the road. Now that is bleeding over into most people's spiritual condition. Now many people out there are not spiritual. They could care less. They do what they choose to do. They practice free will and they don't care. But for those that call themselves believers, that is something that the Most High is not appreciative of. He's never taught that by what the Bible says and by the history in that Bible, and more importantly, by the way he has instructed for his people to conduct themselves. People feel that they can do whatever they want to do morally. They feel they can do whatever they want to do physically, spiritually. And hey, I'll worry about whether it be salvation or worry about the consequences of those actions in the future, down the road. Well, that's not going to play out in a very good manner. Now, you might say to yourself, Jermaine, how do you know that? Well, I can just look at what's going on fiscally in the natural world that we live in today, and we are finding ourselves up against a debt that's overwhelming. We're finding ourselves where people are losing their homes. We're finding ourselves at the precipice of what they call a financial cliff, and the devaluation of the dollar is going down, down, down. That's not only here in America, that's over in Europe and in other places around the world. So what is happening in the fiscal arena is a direct parallel of what's going on in the spiritual. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you think that you are getting in the forefront, it's going to eventually have to be paid for down the road. And I pose this question to you. Are you ready to pay the debt when it comes due? I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Morning Thoughts. And I hope that I was able to give you something that motivated you, inspired you, made you think, made you even ask yourself what I call the question of, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your verbal cup of morning coffee, and I'll see you again on another episode of the Morning Thoughts real soon.